YouTube, what's going on? Welcome into the live stream, the Key Pass Collective / Draft Society partnering with the International Genie League. Welcome in. It's going to be a fun one. We are live broadcasting, commentating, and analyzing the Champions League division in the International Genie League. So this is the top of the top. The guys who have basically set themselves apart for the last couple of years and have worked their way to the top. This league does have promotion and relegation as well between the various divisions. So these are the best of the best. So what we'll do first is, as you can kind of see the draft board on your screen, there's a lot of very strange little markings on there. I'm going to explain those very quickly and what happened with the trades pre-draft. And then I'm going to hand it over to Toddy and Robbie, which we'll hear from them here in just a second. I'm going to hand it over to them, and they are going to introduce the managers in this league. But first, Toddy, hello, my friend. How are you?
Hey, all good, all good. For once in my lifetime, we are actually online when it's daytime in Hungary. So I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, you look good in the light.
You've never seen. Oh, you have, but the others haven't.
Right. Robbie, how are you, my friend?
I'm good, Joe. I'm good. Yeah, as Totty said, nice to be at a civilized hour.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's nice to actually come in and sort of see another draft after I finished all of my own and I have no stress anymore. So yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, we it's nice for us to finally accommodate you all. I agree. I'm borderline like I should have a cup of coffee right now. I mean, it's barely 11 a.m. here. So, yeah, but regardless, happy to see you guys. Thanks for joining. And this was your brainchild, the two of you. So thanks for dreaming this up, because I think this is going to be really fun. I will go ahead and be popping some comments onto the screen as we kind of go through. So feel free to comment in chat. Anybody who's watching / listening, go ahead and comment in chat, and we'll pop them up on screen. Whether or not we actually spend any time like discussing your comments, we'll see what kind of time we have. But we do want to just recognize some of the viewers / listeners. Go ahead and pop your comments on the screen so other people can kind of see that you've joined us. So, all right, let's jump into it. So the first thing we need to do is we're going to discuss some of the trades that have been done so far in this league. Just ridiculous, honestly ridiculous. So here we are. They're on the screen. You can see them right now. So it started with Draftiola sending Genie a 4th round pick, the 43 overall pick. Genie in return sent him a round 10 pick and $100. So all of his fab, all of his free agent budget. So that kicked it off pretty interestingly.
Expensive.
Yep. Quite an expensive 4th round pick, but hey, I'm assuming he's going to use it for Dwight McNeil, but that's just me. Then we have FF Flay, who sent Adam Nasser 11, a 3rd round pick, the 34th pick, a 4th round pick, the 39th pick, and then Flay got in return the 11th pick of the 2nd round, 23 overall, and then the 2nd pick of the 5th round, 50th overall. Then Intaer Goalaticos sent Genie a 1st round pick, the 8th overall pick, a 4th round pick, and a 10th round pick. For Inter G in return got wait, that can't be right. Hold on, I believe it's this. My fault. Okay. 2nd round pick, 10th pick of the 2nd round. There we are, 22nd overall, and the 3rd pick of the 3rd round, 27th overall. Okay, moving on. Draftiola sends FF Flay 1/6 and an 11th round pick. Flay sends to Draftiola another $100. So now Draftiola has an insane amount of money, 300 free agent dollars to play with, which is ridiculous, as well as a 2nd round pick and another 2nd round pick. So 2 2nd round picks in there. The last one we had just went through today. DraftLad, our very own Draft Society, DraftLad, sent Genie a 1st round pick for a 4th round pick, a 4th round pick, and a 4th round pick. So the 41st, 43rd, 46th overall, and a round 7 pick. Okay. I'll hand it over to you all to go ahead and introduce the managers who are going to be competing in this division and competing in this draft today.
Who wants to go first then?
Okay, I'll go first. In no particular order, and we need to hurry because we have 5 minutes.
Oh, nice.
But,
Let's do it.
Number 1 is at Ice Drizzy, who has been in this division for 2 seasons now. Hasn't been relegated or hasn't had a top 3 finish yet. And we might see some Arsenal picks from him as he's an Arsenal fan.
Good stuff. The next one's at Adam Nasser 11. I've got here notes, loves a trade, and I can attest to that because I get notifications through from him and Genie like every day pretty much throughout the year in the Genie League. So, he just about escaped relegation last year, winning 12 games in a row to save his season. Looking forward to seeing what he does in this one.
Yep. Our next guy is the Draft Genie himself, who has amassed, as Joe commented or put together, 3 first-round picks, won this division in its inaugural year, and then I think only lost out to Flay on the last day of the season last season. So we'll see how he does with all first rounders, and then probably nothing much for quite a long time.
Cool. Yeah, the next one is Struck. That's, I think, his Twitter handle was at FantrackStruck. Not entirely sure on that one. He is a Danish legend, apparently, a tough trade negotiator, and likes to get rid of his players very easily. They're always on the chopping block. Last season, he came 5th in the league, so he wants to go a little bit better, as he was only just 2 wins behind Flay who won the league.
Okay, so we have Fundalda, who has joined this division, I think, this season through promotion, and he is a Schlupp and Mopai fan. So sorry to hear that, Fundalda.
Love it. Next one is Draftiola, who just missed out on the title last season. 1 win behind Mark as well. A bigger legend than Pep, apparently, but currently the Fab leader with 300 and known to pick up some quality hidden gems throughout the season.
Yep. Next one down is 25 J-Step, who has been promoted from Division 9 to Division 1, winning the inaugural rigged cup last season. So he is the hot new player there. We'll see how he does. He had a very successful year last season and got onto our Hall of Fame in a very respectable position of, I can't remember.
Next one is up is at Intaer, which is actually a Twitter handle set up, made out of Fantrack stats, out of interest. Legend, always competing for a top pass finish. Just made it into the top 6 last season in the Champions League.
Okay. Next one is our very own DraftLad, King of Projections. I think that's his official title. He got relegated in year 1, and he's back in through promotion. Already making some moves. Will be picking most of the picks in round 4, so we'll take heed of that, and we'll see how he does against our own Genie.
Next one up is at FF Flay. Mark won the league last season and is looking to try and get that back again. He's a Liverpool fan, a self-proclaimed Everton hater, as we saw in his bashing of McNeil a few days ago after all the Fab wars came out. Massive Liverpool fan, as I said, looking to defend his title. Made a questionable trade to get that 6th pick. So it'll be interesting to see if he goes for his Liverpool boys there, or if someone like Trent falls.
Okay, so I'll take the last two because we are starting the draft now. As is a legend joining from Japan, and he has had 2 second-place finishes in the last 2 years, and Evanson 001 earned promotion through the playoffs and is a Leeds fan. So we have our first pick in already from Ice Drizzy, and it's Kevin De Bruyne.
Nice. I think probably the most potential out of all of the picks that we've got.
Hot and heavy.
Available. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going straight through.
So if someone wants to follow, this will not be an audio enjoyment because we can't follow. They're picking so quickly. So it's KDB, Salah, Kane, Son, and Trent in the first 5. Obviously, we have those as first 5, not necessarily in that order, but I think that's a consensus first 5.
Yep. An interesting Mark Flay's gone for Haaland there, going for the upside rather than the more safe pick of Diaz, Cancelo, or
maybe anyone else.
just
Haaland is pure upside.
Anyone surprised to see Genie go Kane over Son there?
I think he's been pretty vocal about his Kane love. Even last season, when beginning of the season, he was very sort of stop-start, or mostly stop under Nuno. So yeah, I think he.
Looks like Jacob was struggling with that one, but it's gone for the safe pick in Cancelo there.
And another less of a surprising pick from Genie in Bruno, his second of 3 first-round picks. Yeah. So now has Kane, Bruno, and is picking again.
I would expect maybe Diaz here, but we'll see.
Remember, check the description if you're just joining us and you want to check out all of the draft pick trades that happened.
So he's gone for Sterling. Interesting.
Yeah. I think that's a bold move, considering Chelsea have, in the last few years, been not the most prolific, and Sterling, in any of his years, bar that one very good one a few years back, he hasn't been much of a goal scorer. So how a not so prolific team will fare with a not so prolific goal scorer is anyone's guess.
Okay, so Flay with Diaz there at 10th pick, which seems like great value. As going for Saka, and Everson going for Jesus.
This is a pretty textbook first round. I think not many surprises maybe in the distribution of the picks, but other than that, not so much. We'll say goodbye to Genie for now, as he's not picking for a while. Madison and Robbo have gone in the first 2 picks of the second round.
I think personally, I've got those 2 8th and 9th in my ranks, so that's, for me, that's great value.
Yeah.
And Nunez coming in.
And I think that's Draftiola's first pick of the draft, if I'm not mistaken, because he's traded his first rounder. So he already has one. He only has one player so far. and then Mount and Kulusevski.
Okay, wow. So Kulusevski's gone a bit early, hasn't he? Based on what we've seen, normally he's going towards the end of the second round.
Especially to Inter G, who again is his first pick in this draft. So Kulu has to take the load on, so to say, because he will be the number one guy.
Yep. Jacob using his time again.
Thank you from here. No surprises there. Southampton homer. The safest pick in the draft. JWP going in the middle of the second round.
Yeah, and as a Saints fan, that's had to be done, really, hadn't it? And it's good value there anyway, to be honest.
Yeah.
Who have we got? It's Draftiola coming up.
Yeah, we have just on screen now DraftLad helping us with some stats from his analyses, and Az has had the best draft last season in this league, so he's looking to replicate that with Saka and Robbo in the first 2 rounds.
So it looks like we've got Sancho off the board. Seems a little bit early, but I have seen it in some drafts. Also quite early on Van Dijk, but that clearly Fundalda is going for that Liverpool defensive stack.
Yep.
Can't blame him.
Yeah. Foden off the board with Son. I think that's a really good pairing, and I think that's the same pairing you had in the Community League, wasn't it, Totti?
Yeah, that is it. I did that from pick 3 though.
Yeah.
So pretty similar. I do think that on the Liverpool defense double up, I do think that Van Dijk would have been available to pick in the next round at the same spot. So there might be a bit of overthinking there from Fundalda, but we'll see. Obviously, we like him, but maybe you have to take a bit more of ADP in mind when drafting.
Yeah, it seems a bit of a reach, but I mean, if I was drafting on the turn there, I wouldn't have let him have him back. So
that's fair. We'll see. Yeah. So Bowen's gone to Inter G, and then Mahrez. We might have missed commenting on Sancho going in the middle of the second round. I think he's been rising pretty steadily since the beginning of the off-season. One of the safest menu picks out there, so could be a good pick there.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
probably wouldn't have come back around. Pretty sure he wouldn't have come back around.
No,
so
definitely
that's a good
not.
pick there.
Yeah, so Bowen at pick 10 in the second round, I think, is great value for me. Mahrez, I'm a little bit wary on him, to be honest, in terms of how many starts he gets. I know people think he has less competition now that Jesus has left, but after watching the Community Shield, I'm really not sold on him.
I agree with that Mahrez take. I think a year older, I don't see how he takes more starts. We go to our third round. The beginning starts with Reece James, Martin Odegaard, Philippe Coutinho, and Jack Grealish, and now Eriksen has been taken. Obviously, I've been vocal about this, but I think that's a bit high on Reece James, considering there's not much movement in the centre back search from the Todd.
Not Fofana coming in potentially.
We'll see. If Leicester let Fofana go, then they can probably start aiming for mid-table to bottom half. So they will really have to consider doing that. Maybe it's a bit high on Coutinho in round 3. What do you think, Robbo?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think I had him ranked sort of towards the end of the third round. So I mean, he's certainly a high upside pick, but we didn't really see as much of him as we wanted, in the second half of the season when he joined Villa. So, just a bit unsure about that when you've got guys like Grealish or even safer picks like Tony, and that's still on the board.
Yeah, so Tony has just gone at 3.6, which is probably around where he should be going, and this should mark the start of this end of third round forward run that we talked about with Ryan a week ago when we did the pod. Should these sort of second tier ish forwards should start falling quickly now, and Zaha has gone in the next pick. So let's see how the end of the draft reacts to some panic around the forward spots.
Yeah, certainly with ours at the end there, I think he'll have to be taking one of the forwards at that point, pick 11. But yeah, this really is that halfway through round 3 is quite an interesting point, because I think you really start to see a drop off in value, and no matter how the order of the before it has gone, most of those guys have been taken now. So wow, okay, so we just had Martinelli taken. He's been going nearer the middle to end of round 4 from what I've seen, so that seems like a bit earlier. And what do you think, Totti?
It is, but I know the draft board doesn't really help us here with all the trades, but if you have a look at Interg's squad, that's Kulusevski, Bowen, Coutinho, and Martinelli. I think that's a very strong midfield. Yeah, definitely going for the stack. Thank you, Joe. With that visual, you can see Interg's squad right there on the right of your screen.
Okay, so next we've had Chilwell taken. Bit of a difficult one with him because we're not sure how fit he's going to be at the start of the season. He may be eased in slowly. So, but actually, where DraftLad's taken him, there is probably quite good value actually. And then we've had Pedro Neto taken just after him. That seems about right in terms of value, Totti?
Yeah, I have to agree with that. The drop-off after these batch of forwards is pretty substantial. So I want to see Watkins going to Az, I think, or Jota. He's taken Jota there. Obviously, Jota falling due to that hamstring injury, but that's a great spot for Diogo Jota, I think.
Yeah, he maybe could have waited, but to the next round. But yeah, I think if you want him, you take him, don't you?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we chaps are thinking Watkins next, and I have to agree. I was considering that for as well, but yeah, Jota seems like with 2 safe picks in Saka and Robbo, I think he can take a bit of a risk with Jota instead of probably more starts but less points per start for Watkins.
Yeah, I think I agree on that. Watkins may be a little bit of a risk for me. I'm not sure he necessarily gets back to his 2021 form. But yeah, Vardy would have been my next pick there. I really like him this year. I know he's getting older, but without any Europe to play and with a rest during the World Cup, I think he could be a great option, as long as Leicester don't sell off half the team, which is looking likely at the moment.
Yeah. So yeah, Trossard and Vardy gone in to start round 4. And then Watkins as suggested, but he's obviously, with the draft board being a bit skewed, he's not going to Flay, but he's going to Adam Nasser. So his team is Salah, Ødegaard, and Watkins,
and Neto as well.
And Neto as well. Yeah,
that's a solid. That's a solid first 4 rounds, yeah. Okay, so it looks like Bernardo Silva's fallen a bit, mainly based on his the rumours of the Barcelona links. What do you think on that one, Totti?
I have him in 2 leagues, and I'm not that worried about the Barcelona links. If anyone wants to go a bit deeper, I'm going to plug today's articles and videos from The Athletic. Tifo did a short one with Adam Crafton as guest on Barcelona's finances, and there was a long read as well from Adam Crafton on how Barcelona can actually afford spending on players when they are in deep financial trouble. So they're both worth the read and a watch. So I recommend that.
Cool. So we've just had DraftLad take his second pick of the 4th round. Of his second of his 4 picks in this round, going Bernardo Silva, then Trippier. Lots of upside with Trippier there, although obviously the known injury risks. And considering we just had him for 4 or 5 short but very sweet games last season.
Yeah, and I think you have to take a gamble on Newcastle's form uptick. And DraftLad has just done that, and I don't blame him.
Yep.
Full season of Bruno as a defensive pivot, and Sven Botman should help solidify that defense with Nick Pope as well in there. So I think that's a good pick.
Okay, so then we've had Antonio taken by Jacob, getting his second forward in. Interesting, DraftLad's then gone for Gundogan. Assume this is a stack with Bernardo Silva. Now that he, I mean, you almost need to do that with him to ensure that you've got a starter every game, because they'll play that sort of role beside Rodri. And then we've got Jingle Bellamy Fundauda going for the triple defensive stack from Liverpool with Matip in the 4th round. Love it. Brilliant.
Will he need to reach for Konate, do you think? Or are you confident?
Yeah, well, this is it. Where is he taking them then? Round 7, 8?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah,
has to be around there.
Yeah. Then we've had Barnes. Sorry, go ahead, Toby.
No, I was Barnes taken at 9th spot, and then DraftLad going for Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yeah,
in the
maybe
4th round.
The news on the Martial hamstring injury is swaying in there potentially. I really like the Barnes pick there actually from Fantrax Struck. I quite like the value. McGinn taken by Haverwendia. He has been falling to the 5th round, so maybe a little bit of a reach, but when you're on the turn, it almost doesn't matter too much.
Yeah, and then he's not picking his own 5th rounder. So
good point. Yeah. It's hard to read, isn't it?
Yeah, it's difficult to read. So he's picking in the 6th round next. So I think that's a decent one there if he wants it.
Yep. Okay. Looks like we've had Havertz off the board. I mean, Chelsea could sign anyone, so we're not sure how good a signing that, how good a pick that will be. But pairing him and Rashford as his two main forwards, considering he got Buendia, De Bruyne and ASM in the first 2 rounds.
Yeah, I think that's a bit high on Havertz, but again, I think these valuations of Chelsea players are based on the assumption that they will improve in their goal scoring ability, and if they do, then by default, Havertz will be involved in some sense.
Yeah. Interesting that Zinchenko's been taken in the start of the 5th round. He has been dropping to nearer the 6th, so That's a interesting one, taken a bit above value, I think, but clearly probably wouldn't have come back to mark there. Next off the ball, we've got Eze, Harrison, Thiago, and our boy McNeil. Sorry.
Yep. I like those picks there. I think they're all value, and what we see with this draft, and I think that's similar in most drafts that have really good fantasy players, is that you have to reach for the guys you want, because everyone is playing from a very similar playbook, and you're just not going to be sure that you can get your guys in.
Yep, exactly. So Thiago seems a little bit early. Eze, I like at that pick. I think he's going to have a big season, and unlike Elise, he is actually fit. McNeil, again, we know he's a ghost point king, so I think in the 5th round there's good value. Now we've got Jacob taking Callum Wilson. Bit of a risky pick, obviously, with his injury record, but if he has a good start to the season, then he could be one of the ones you look to move on in trades. And we've got Jesse there. What do you think about that one, Totti?
I think that's way too early. But again, if you think that he'll perform close to what he did at West Ham, then you have to go for it, because you can see that players are going a bit all over the place. I still think that he would have been there on the turn, coming back around, but
and it's interesting to note, actually, Totti, sorry, that he's now got 5 mids. So going with the stack there, even further.
Yeah. So I think if you've gone to the going mids early route, then you might as well just lean into it, right?
Yep. Yeah, exactly. And now we've had DraftLad take Elise there, which I think represents pretty good value, even with the injury news. But I think he should be back training in the next week or so, from what I heard.
Yeah, that's what I read as well.
Yeah. And then Flay taking Bruno G. I'm a bit wary about Bruno. I don't know about you, but one of my bold picks to not score in the top 100 fantasy points, with his role potentially shifting to a deeper position than he enjoyed last season. Totti's gone there. And then we've got Pascal Gross there, taken by Az. So we've got a bit of a mid run for round 5. Gross, lots of upside.
I'll join you, Robbie.
Yeah, no, it's okay. Great.
Give you some company.
Gross, lots of upside there. Obviously, the playing time with Potter, we're never sure about, but with Everson having Trossard there, maybe he wouldn't have come back to Az. So good pick there.
Yeah, Gross ended the season really strong, and he was basically nailed on too, right?
Yeah. No, exactly. So, got the set pieces. Although I remember him missing a couple of penalties, which was quite annoying. But aside from that, it was all good. And then we got Bamford at the end of the 5th there. That seems a bit early, but to be honest, again, he won't come back to Everson there. So that's an interesting pick. I think Doherty, loads and loads of upside. And the reason he's falling so low is just purely because of the playing time. I mean, he's got Emerson, Royale, and now Spence coming in. So plenty of rotation risk and obviously early substitution risk as well.
And you can see DraftLad in the league chat is quite upset that he didn't take Doherty sooner. Thought he was going to slip.
Yeah. So if you've looked at any of DraftLad's projections, they're all very, very high on defenders. So I'm not surprised by that one.
FPL boss Josh Foss asking if you have a favorite team so far.
Okay. I'll have to get this up on my big screen, otherwise it's going to
check it out, yeah.
Yeah. And then let's see. Favorite team so far. It's a bit difficult with everything going on, but Do you want to? Yeah, should we flick through the actual rosters?
We can, sure.
Yeah, might be a bit easier. Okay. Actually, have a buen dia. Salah, Neto, Watkins, McGinn, and Odegaard. That's all very solid. Wow. So, I mean, obviously, Genie's team's going to look amazing at the moment, but
yeah, until the later rounds. Yeah.
Yeah, 4 picks: Bruno, Eze, Kane, Sterling. I mean, that's really solid. I'd have gone for Diaz over Sterling, but Sterling probably has more upside if it all goes well. So I do still like that pick. Fantrax struck with Barnes, Foden, Grealish, and Harrison, and Son. I quite like that. The pairing of Foden and Grealish, if they're both the first choice on left and right wing, because I think Foden could potentially play their right wing role. That could be money. We'll see. Oh, we've got a few more picks off the board anyway. Ruben Diaz. Wow. Okay, so I think Az has moved a little bit early on him, but he's a very safe pick anyway, isn't he? The upside of Perisic is great there. I think round 6 is pretty good value for him, actually.
I've seen him go earlier than that, yeah.
Yeah. So again, repeat what we said about Doherty, especially based on the evidence of how Conte used him at Inter, but still just loads and loads of upside there. DraftLad going for Gordon. I think with it's an interesting one. I think with Calvert-Lewin's injury, we could see more time for all of the sort of more attacking midfield / forward roles. So McNeil, Gordon, and Gray. So that's maybe he's sort of having that in his thinking there and thinking about an early trade. Brennan Johnson. Wow. Okay. Again, I know Genie's been loving Johnson, so maybe that was just for trade bait with Genie. We'll see.
Seems early.
Yeah. Scamacca, I think. Yeah, probably about right there. I think. Oh, I think have we got Totti back?
We do.
Yes.
All right.
It seems that our internet provider cannot stream Disney Plus and stream a live draft commentary together. Yeah. I've told my kids that they're not watching Frozen again.
All right, I'll bow out for now.
Yeah. So Scamacca just taken off the board. We just had my waiver run in the I'm in Div 2 of the Genie League, and I got him for 31 fab. Which I thought was pretty decent because he's been going for anywhere from sort of 50 to 100. So that round 6 I think is probably about right, given the upside, but risk of sort of him not converting well.
Yeah.
And then we got a bit of a forward run now. So Mitrovic, Richarlison, and Podence. What do you reckon on those?
I like those, and not Richarlison, but all the others I do. The only thing with Richarlison, if you have a look here, is it Jingle Bellamy's first forward? So he's his forward one.
Yeah.
I think that's like probably would have looked for Mitrovic if I was him. Would have been very frustrated that he was taken ahead. But the interesting thing is Brennan Johnson being taken ahead of all of those guys.
Yeah.
For me, and as for Scamacca, I think I like him more than most do. I think his build and his pedigree will translate well to the Premier League. So I expect big things. I expect Antonio to occupy left wing, Scamacca to go through the middle, and Bowen through the right, and with Cornet coming as well, there could be some decent rotation in there as well.
Yep, yeah, definitely. I quite like Podence there actually. Maybe could have gone a little bit later, but I think especially with Jimenez's injury, him playing as a false 9, potentially switching around with Gibbs White and Neto could be a good combo. And we've seen Genie go for his boy Aronson. I don't think there's any surprise there. He's been talking him up all week. So I I think for Fantrack stuck there going for Podence. I think that's again he's only got the one forward, so we're seeing people go, oh yeah, I need my forward now.
Exactly. Yeah.
Particularly as we said with Jingle Bellamy, with Fandalda, with Richarlison. Ike Nori, I don't know. That feels a bit early for me. What do you think?
Agreed. I think that's a bit early for Ike Nori. Again, that's something maybe to do with looking at ADPs and expecting a well-tuned set of managers like this one to go for him in the upcoming round. So I think that's a bit of a reach, but could be value there. I think back to that Aronson pick, man. Even if we're looking at his most or his highest potential upside, I think burning a 6th rounder with his teammates in Intaer still being there now, picked by DraftLad, I think that's just way too early for Aronson.
Yeah, no, I agree. Tielemans going at the end. We've got our first keeper off the board. There we go.
Yes, and that's a full Liverpool stack.
Yeah, I mean, why not? I mean, I actually did the same in the Genie League last year. I didn't have Alisson actually now, but I did have Matip, Van Dijk, and Trent. So, but that was 3 trades. But it worked well. I mean, I can't knock the guy.
Yeah, if you're expecting 25 clean sheets, then that's 50 points you're starting from.
Yeah,
probably.
No, this is it. Any of the other picks going there? So Tielemans, end of round 6. I know you have your qualms about him, but I think there he probably starts to become interesting, especially if some other players leave Leicester and he stays.
I think if we were to do ranks today, which we aren't. FYI, anyone expecting ranks day on Thursday to continue, I've got to be. We've got some bad news for you. I would have had Tielemans a bit earlier, as opposed to my last set of ranks, because all the rumors about him are, as you said, a bit positive. So if Maddison goes, obviously they're probably not letting Tielemans go as well. But who knows with Leicester? If he's subject to a last minute Arsenal bid, then obviously he's going to be happy and productive there. So okay. 6th, 7th round is probably around value for that.
Yeah, it looks like we're getting behind a bit, so I'll just rattle through the picks. So DCL for Tal Ben Aim at the end there. Obviously rounding out his forwards, he's obviously fallen later due to the injuries, but I think still might be a bit early there. Dallo for Have a Buendia, again, maybe a little bit early, but he could have a big season if United sort themselves out. Sinistera for DraftLad. He I think was in need of a forward with only Ronaldo there. And then we had Cash in. So Cash has been going really early from drafts I've seen, like round 4 and 5 and stuff. So he's pretty good value there actually for someone who's a sort of more of a steady player.
I agree, and also not just a word on Cash. I think the difference between Dean and Cash going is interesting. Considering the set piece picture at Aston Villa is very, very murky at best. So if Digne is not getting enough set pieces to elevate his value, then he's going to be very similarly scoring to Cash. And if you could get him 4 rounds later, kudos.
Yeah, no, definitely. So Draftiola taking Tarkovsky. Again, I think like Joe and Ryan spoke about on the pod that came out yesterday or this morning, whichever one. You're not getting him there for the clean sheets. You're getting him there for the aerials. Obviously, hopefully he'll continue that at Everton compared to what he did at Burnley. Joe Linton going off. I know you picked him in our community league. What do you think of that pick, Totty?
I like it. I think he's. There were some suggestions that he may lose value with possibly Madison coming in, but I think he's much too valuable an asset in that midfield to lose out. So yeah, I like that. It's one of those steady picks that are creeping into the draft now. Like I think the first really steady, not so stellar one was McGinn, and then going Thiago, McNeil to a certain extent, Guimaraes, and then these are the ones that we talked about in last week, that the mid rounds are the ones that are consolidating your team.
Yeah,
essentially.
And you can see actually there, Jacob, that's his second mid. So he's gone with 4 forwards previously. So he's basically had to go for a mid there, from his thinking. Interesting, Cucurella dropping to there. People still okay with taking him, even with the risk of all the different transfers. DraftLad going for Gibbs White. Wow.
And then Firmino. Love that. Love that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we'll both appreciate that one.
Yeah, I think Gibbs White is he'll have value, and again, someone who would not be there in his next pick.
Yeah, no, definitely. So the other ones we'll just rattle through. Koulibaly. Entirely sure about that pick, to be honest. But we got Welbeck. Feels a bit early too, but if he's the starting forward for them and takes that end of season form, then it will be good. Target and Bailey. Bailey's been great in pre-season, hasn't he? So
yeah, so he's primed for four starts at the beginning of the season.
Exactly,
rupturing something.
Yeah, and then we've got the person he's going to be battling with for that right wing spot, Buendia, going next, and then our another nice safe pick in Souček, as we were talking about. Do you think he could get back to that season before last form?
I think it will all depend on the position of Rice on the field, because he's been creeping up forward a bit last season, and I think that killed Souček's value a bit. Yeah. But we'll see how he does. I'm not that interested in Souček this year. It's been reported that they've been shopping him out as well, which will probably mean that he might see some bench time as well.
Interesting. Adama there. Obviously, if he does start playing, great. But it's a bit of a. I mean, by this point we're not talking about too much draft capital wasted on a pick, so he's going for the upside there. I don't think any surprise, Jacob, Saints fan, going for Armstrong, and I do like him there, to be honest. He has been falling later in some drafts, but actually I think he's probably around value there, and he's been playing up top in pre-season in a 3-5-2. So yeah, that could be a great pick. Alvarez there. What do you think of that one?
I think that's way too reactionary, based on this early season or Community Shield form, but we don't know. We never know with Pep. I think the fact that he is able to play any of the 4-3 positions will give him minutes beyond what we expect him to have, but I'm not sure that he's worth around this pick. That said, this is now we're coming up to punty territory. So
exactly.
If a manager likes him, then you should go for him.
Yeah. Again, we're getting a bit behind here. So, and Mbeumo, wow. Okay, I know he underperformed his XG and all that, but that's a little bit too pricey for me. Again, we've got Romero coming off the board there. I quite like him there. I think Spurs should have a good defensive season. Andreas Pereira. Now Wilson has been injured. I think he he could be a great option for the first couple of months, especially, couldn't he?
He could.
But,
I'm still very out on most of the promoted team assets. So if you look at the players going after him, I think that there was more of a Genie reach for the United
old boy, yeah.
prodigy or old boy. But again, we have to see this in context. All these picks in context to this draft. So if we have a look at the players being picked after him, he definitely has the most upside out of KDH, Gray, Smith Rowe, and Williams and Aribo.
Yeah. Although, do you think Dewsbury Hall's form in pre-season would maybe not sway you, especially with the rumours of people going out, that he may have a more advanced role, and actually that could be a very good pick there.
Yeah, I think KDH is a great pick there. I've been a huge fan since he started playing in October, November last season. So much so that I didn't end up picking him in any of my leagues because he went way earlier than I would have thought to pick him. I think this spot is good for him. I think the only way for him to go is up. He's been stepping up to dangerous positions on the field, being shooty and getting lucky as well in preseason with getting a few attacking returns. So yeah, the only way is up for KDH. I like that pick there.
Yeah, it's interesting now that, as we've said, we've got a real mix of sort of very risky upside picks and just solid like team building picks. So KDH, obviously, as we talked about, Gray and Smith Rowe. Smith Rowe's obviously a bit risky, but and then it's funny, Genie taking Jacob's next pick in Ayadolia Rebo, who's creeping up the draft boards every day now. Che Adams hasn't been playing in pre-season, so I'm not entirely sure about that one. Harry Wilson, again, injured, I think, for a couple of months, is it?
Yep. 8 weeks.
Yeah. So I think I personally would, DND for me. So, and again, Norgard, a very safe pick for.
Yeah, I think with like the best way for me to compare at this point, like round 9, Harry Wilson is to Liam Cooper. Like people are not considering Liam Cooper because of that Achilles, but he's close to being back in training. Whereas Harry Wilson, who is a full unknown on a potentially very bad team, he's definitely do not draft for me.
I think potentially with Van Douda's Welshness taking over there, really, isn't it?
Yeah. He cannot keep it down. He cannot keep his Welshness down.
Yeah, this is it. So next off, we've got Justin going for Jacob there. I really like Justin this season, but although obviously with all the rumours of everyone leaving, maybe that defence isn't going to be quite as solid. But I think he's very good value. I don't know what you think on that one.
Yeah, I like him there as well. The only issue, as you said, is if Fofana comes out, then we're going to see a defense with potentially always injured Johnny Evans, and then who else? Is it going to be Amarte or Soyuncu there in center back, or maybe Vestergaard revival? So I'm not that jazzed about that Leicester defense, and obviously Justin has potentially some upside there. So I don't mind that pick. It's just there's an asterisk there definitely with almost all Leicester assets, and then Castagne going 3 picks later. Similar issues there.
Yeah,
definitely.
But with Ricardo out, more
he's
time.
playing time. There's no playing time issues in the short term for Castagna, I think, but definitely clean sheet issues.
Yeah, I think we've seen in the chat from Drafter Thoughts, Rodri not too happy with that one. I think I sort of agree. If I haven't taken any City, mids or forwards like before then, I wouldn't really be considering them there. But another interesting one, DraftLad with Martial. So even the news of the hamstring injury, he's still interested, but obviously looking to do the stack with Ronaldo to make sure he's guaranteed that United forward spot.
That coveted United forward spot. I mean, it's still up in the air with Ten Hag, but it could be some good value there for Martial if in fact it's either going to be a timeshare or one of them leaves and then he'll just keep the starting United forward. I don't think it's going to be worth keeping that handcuff. But we'll see.
Maybe a short-term thing anyway. So on the turn there, Christensen and Fofana. I think Fofana you're particularly high on, and obviously if he moves to Chelsea, that could be even better. Christensen as well. I know Gavin's been sort of raging. Sorry, you know what I mean. Has been very high on him. Are you high?
I like him, but I think there is some Leeds bias there from Evans, and because I think again he's one of the guys that even in this very well informed draft he would have been there in 2 or 3 rounds, I think, and with these good players or potentially good players on bad teams, I always have my qualms, like Max Aarons. Everyone think of Max Aarons.
We got a few comments in there about Rasmus is God, apparently, according to Ryan. But we'll see. I think Lamptey coming in there for Flay, that seems early. I've not even seen him drafted in some leagues, so I'm not too sure about that one. Again, DraftLad going for another handcuff, pairing Chilwell with Alonso. I think, it's probably a bit of a reach, but you almost have to do it once he's in that situation. A bit like the what we talked about with Van Daalder with his Liverpool stack. When is he going to take Konate, sort of thing? So and then we've got Genie taking Maguire, round 10. What do we think of that one?
There is the Konate. I don't hate Maguire there, but this is now officially the round of the handcuffs. Yeah. I think the interesting thing to consider with all 3 of these handcuffs, Konate, Matip, Alonso, Chilwell, and Martial, Ronaldo to some extent, is that are you locking yourself into keeping that handcuff, and is there a shelf life for either one of the players that you're going to keep them on? I think that's definitely the case with Konate and Matip. Alonso and Chilwell, I think it's the writings on the wall for Alonso. So you'll play Alonso definitely in the first few if he starts, but what happens if Chilwell comes back in and then Alonso sits out 2, 3, 4, and do you keep him on? And there's the same with Martial and Ronaldo. If Ronaldo starts banging the goals in, is it worth keeping Martial?
You get that tipping point, don't you, where when do you actually get rid of this guy who you've only really brought in for an early handcuff, basically.
Exactly.
Your boy has been taken by Jacob, the computer.
Yep. He's in for a big season. It's surprising that he's been taken ahead of McAllister for me. I haven't seen that. Obviously, that you've already talked about that Lamptey pick being a bit early or a bit wavered, But other than that, this is about the right spot for the Brighton streamers or the Brighton punts round. I've seen most of the leagues I've seen, McAllister has gone ahead of Mapu, mostly due to him being able to potentially be on set pieces. Other than that, I like the upside for Mapu, and anyone who has doubts, you just have to look at the points per start from last season. Although there's a very small sample size, but he's been involved.
Yeah, the potential is there. Whether he realizes it is another story.
Yeah.
Ben Rama there. I'm not particularly high on Ben Rama with all the forwards coming in. I think he's the first, on the chopping block to get rotated. And as we spoke, obviously Van Douda's gone for Konate. So here we go. As you say, round of the handcuffs, or handcuff territory anyway. Luke Shaw. I mean, do we see Malacia starting over him? That's the question.
I think Malacia has been in most of the predicted 11s.
Yeah.
Not sure there is. Ronaldo has enough influence on that United team to stop Shaw from getting dessert. There was some chat in the chat that Aspie has supposedly signed a new contract, and will that put an end to the Reece James centre back hypotheses? Thank you, Joe, for putting DraftLad's chat or tweet or whatever
and
on.
He's just been taken.
And he's just been taken.
Genie's definitely listening to us, isn't he?
Yeah, he's that. I mean, the fact that when we thought about what happens if the drafting managers will be listening to us, and he said, no, they won't, I knew then that he would be listening. I mean, that's if he's a starter, then that's an okay pick this late. We have to remember that even as a starter last season, he was droppable due to the bad numbers he got.
I think that was partly due to Chelsea's poor form as well, though. So it was a bit of, they went together a bit, really, didn't they?
Yeah, they were. I remember that we had an article doing the rounds on Twitter. Some supercomputer did the projections after 4 league games, that Chelsea would only concede 3 goals in the whole season or something like that, based on the form they showed in the first few. Obviously, that wasn't going to happen, and that wasn't the case. We'll see how it goes this season. I'm not very high on Chelsea. There's too much turmoil there, I think.
Yeah. No, I think it would just be a short term, maybe a couple of starts at the start of the season for me anyway, if you can get him in. So again, we're a bit behind. We'll rattle off a few. So Tomiyasu taken there. I'm not sure he'd be fit for the first game, but could be okay value there. Fabio Vieira, I think that's a bit of a wasted pick, to be honest. As is Ruben Neves. He was my do not draft.
For different reasons.
Yes. Yeah. Very low upside and not much floor. Great. And then as we said, we're in a handcuff territory. So Malacia has been taken with Shaw. Sensible move, really. I might have taken them the other way around, but if I was going to do it, someone's gone for Awoniyi. How do you say Awoniyi? Oh God, I'm absolutely butchered that. Probably worth a punt there. I think Van Douda is definitely light on forwards. I can't really say much more than that on him. Soufal, I'm not too high on him. I think he has competition from Johnson. He'll probably start the season, but
definitely. I think definitely Johnson is gonna get minutes, and we still don't know what the defense situation is going to be with West Ham. I think that 3 or 5 at the back, depends on where you look at it from, is the go-to formation for Moyes. But the new guy's injury, Aguerd's injury, might push him to try out 4 at the back, which would mean less opportunity for these guys to produce. We're definitely now in game week 1 droppable or game week 1 punt territories with Solly March, Miguel Almiron, Thiago Silva, and Danny Ings there. I think it is very likely that all 3 of those will be on the waiver wire even before game week 1, or definitely after game week 1.
I don't mind Thiago Silva there, though. I think he should be the starting centre back. I mean, particularly for the first 5 game weeks anyway, when the teams only have 1 game a week. So
yeah, definitely, and but he just doesn't score that well. So I think we need to see how that Chelsea team look before we invest further. But obviously, at this point in the draft, Thiago Silva is a good punt. If he gets 3 clean sheets in the first 5, then you're golden.
Yeah, I think his points per start was 8.7 last year, and he did get a few returns. So I think, personally, for me, I quite like that pick of that round anyway. Rodrigo has gone as well. I think he could be good for the next couple of weeks anyway, and with the Sinistero out, and he obviously did well in that pre-season game where they got the 6 goals. So, and I think he got a hat trick. So I don't mind that pick there, but obviously it's a short-term one.
Yeah, a year late, isn't it? We were all over him last season, and he didn't perform, and then now possibly, who knows? Like, do we even know who the starting forward is there? Is it definitely Bamford?
Yeah, I think we have Bamford, and from the last game in terms of who came on for Sinistero, we had Rodrigo and Aronson and Harrison. That was a mouthful, wasn't it? Flanking him. So I think Rodrigo played a bit wider with Aronson in the middle.
So what happens when Sinistero is back? Is he taking Rodrigo's spot?
I would expect so, yeah.
Cool.
Okay, so we've seen Ake taken off the board. I think the only reason for that is he started the Community Shield and could potentially start in the first game or 2. With Stones obviously not being able to go on their pre-season tour due to the Vax rules. Diego Carlos, wow, that's an interesting one from DraftLad there. I don't think I've even seen him drafted at all. So, what do we reckon of that one?
I think that's either just a play on the first week when they face Bournemouth, or like one of those that will be guaranteed to play 36 with some decent floor. We still don't know who his partner is in the center back spot, and who will be the sort of alpha and who will be scoring better. So he could turn out to be a decent little pick there.
We just got a comment up from DraftLad's, obviously. He is listening. I got flustered. Stream for week 1. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they do have a decent run at the start of the season, so it's a fair point. I think for me, I really like those 2 West Ham picks coming up next, Rice and Fornals. In round 12, that's very good value. Everyone's been sort of going for all these risky picks, and these guys who are like your sort of set and forget-ish have fallen quite far.
Yeah. I agree. Rice had a very good run last season,
especially at the start of the season, wasn't it?
Yeah. He was very good for Fantrax scoring. So I think at this point in time, I'm not sure if what Interg's midfield situation looks like, but I seem to remember that he has a lot of them. So in that sense,
it may not have been worth it.
It may, yeah. Like, let's have a look. It's Bowen, Martinelli, Kulusevski, Lingard, Coutinho, and then Rice. Yeah, in that spot, you have to consider your own team as well.
Yeah.
Like, maybe you're expecting Martinelli to be some sort of rotation risk, but even then, you're picking Declan Rice to slot into a midfield 5. I'm not sure that's worth it there. I would have gone for some upside.
Yeah, we got a couple of comments. Benji Wade was asking about Rodrigo's spot. Wouldn't that be taken by Aronson? But as it said, Aronson will be playing there anyway. So it was Aronson, Harrison, Bamford, and Rodrigo starting there. So I think Sinister is taking the spot from Rodrigo, if anyone.
Unless he has a good run.
Yeah. And wow, I mean, we were all wondering when it would happen, but Genie's just taken Delhi off the board in round 12.
I mean, there were some comments from Lamps today saying that he could be an option to help out with the DCL injury, but I think seeing how little he did at the end of last season, where they really would have needed an offensive spark, I just can't see it happening.
No, yeah. False 9 with DCL out, you never know. Yeah, so I think we're in massive punt territory anyway. Go Ali, Hickey, again, we don't know if him or Brentford will be any good. Spence, again, that's I don't know when he'll start to get playing time. Brozier, again, bit of a punt that he moves. I don't see him breaking into the Chelsea team anytime soon. Hudson-Odoi, again, a punt that he moves. Maybe gets a bit of playing time ahead of Reece James at right wing back, with James moving to right centre back. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I like that punt. Yeah. He's one of those guys who will be on a promoted team at the age of 28, thinking about what could have been.
Yep. Could have gone to Bayern Munich, right?
Jesse Lingard-esque, unless he grabs hold of his own career and takes the next step, which who knows if will happen. I wanted to highlight Jingle Bellamy's Odson Edouard pick. I really like that, and I think he's going to be a steal at 13. The fixture list at the beginning of the season is very, very difficult. They have Liverpool, Arsenal, and City in the first 4. But after that, obviously, it eases up. And if you can hold on to Edouard and maybe swing it that you don't have to start him, then I think that's a good shout. And there's low key some more potential in that forward line than one might imagine, in that for Jingle Bellamy, Richarlison, and Mbomo, Awoniyi, and Edouard. Obviously, on face value, that sounds frightening, to say the least. But yeah, I think he's definitely going for the 5-2-3 formation, as he only has 3 midfielders currently on roster, and one of them is Harry Wilson, who will be dropped before he plays a game.
Indeed. And I thought one of the other interesting moves was our second keeper going with Lloris in round 13. And I actually did exactly the same thing in 2 of my drafts, taking him there. I think by the time you get to round 13, everything is just much of a muchness. So if you can guarantee yourself what, in my opinion, is the first or second best keeper, and the rest of your team's pretty well set, then I think that's actually quite a sensible pick.
Didn't you have some data to back up that round 13 is exactly round 16?
Yeah, so one of the articles I did was just analysing one of the drafts I was in for just based on the projected WAR from DraftLad's projections, and just summing it up for each round. And you saw there was basically a drop off from 1 to 2, and then from 3 to 4, and then it was basically in bunches. So it was 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. But actually, round 13 to 16, it was all just the same. It really wasn't very different. So I think at that point, if your team's relatively well set, I think why not reach for these guys? I mean, compared to going for Alisson in round 7, I mean, you've got a keeper that's pretty much exactly the same. There's not really going to be much difference between them. So, personally,
exactly.
I think that's a great pick.
And we are discounting keepers because of their volatility in scoring. But at the end of the day, there will be keepers who will provide, maybe only in different parts of the season, but they will provide similar or better value than your 4th or 5th round pick. It's just not predictable enough to be able to or to warrant an earlier pick. So I think I agree with that in that take, in the sense that that keepers are people too, just like kickers in the NFL, and they should be drafted, or they can be drafted, and getting a premium one is going to help your team. Also, it's going to help you with headaches. Like if you have Alisson, obviously I think it's too early in this round, but if you can get Alisson in round 11 or something, or Lloris in round 13, then you are probably good for almost the whole season, unless there is a huge drop in form.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. So moving on to some of the other picks that we've got there, we've seen the 2 Wolves centre backs there. We're likely seeing them move to a 4-2-3-1 or something, or 4-3-3. So the 4 at the back. So we expect Collins and Kilman to be the starting pair there. Walker-Peters is an interesting one, especially with Southampton playing 5 at the back. He could be getting forward a bit more. Weiser from DraftLad there, I think that's a bit of a sort of a short-term pick potentially. I think eventually we'll see Lewis Potter taking over that spot. Weiser's a bit erratic, really, and I mean he can do things, score well at times, but for the actual balance of the team, it's a bit.
And our fixture difficulty tracker has Brentford midfielders in the number 2 spot, with Leicester, United, Fulham, Everton, Crystal Palace, and Leeds in the first 6. So I think that's a good pick. And Evan, DraftLad, also agrees with his own pick. Surprise there.
So we've got. So we'll rattle through them because we're falling behind again. Polinia, I don't think he's got great stats, so I'm not really sure about that one. Ben Mee, solid pick there, to be fair. If he'll have Pinnock's role potentially for the start of the season, so that could be aerial central. Jimenez, obviously currently injured, so but round 13, I mean, take a punt, keep him, why not? I personally wouldn't bother, but some people are a bit more patient than others. Ramsdale going, again, probably a decent keeper. Maybe doesn't come back to him, and they've got a good early schedule, so I don't mind that. Pulisic, it's a punt, isn't it? Elanga, again, a bit of a punt. Genie's gone for Jadon Anthony. Again, there's a few Bournemouth picks going now, and their schedule's so bad, as you've said as many times. I'm not really too sure about that one.
and when their own personal manager says that they're not ready for prime time, then I don't think fantasy managers can really trust any of the Bournemouth players. Again, it's similar to what you said about Jimenez. If you're willing to burn a bench spot for one of the Bournemouth guys, and think that they won't be dropped by other teams, then you can go for them. But I think the Conor Gallagher example from last season underlines the fact that you need to be very flexible with your roster at the beginning of the season, because we have some understanding of what the starting lineups will be, but there will be at least 3 or 4 surprises that will jump up and be available. Like, I think it was Mason Mount 2 seasons or 3 seasons ago. He went in round 14, and then I picked him, I think, in round 14 in the league, and then dropped him before even a ball has been kicked, and then he was a starter under Lampard. And same with Conor Gallagher last season. So if you are stacking up these Bournemouth and injured guys, and not willing to drop them, then you're gonna be not gonna be able to pick up some high upside streams at the beginning of the game weeks. I think at this point, anyone who's watching on YouTube will be able to carry or have a look at these last round picks. I wanted to go back for just a second to the 2 Wolves centre backs for a sec, and maybe Drafted Thoughts is here in our comments section. He can whip up some info, but I kind of feel that both Collins and Kilman were primarily scoring well due to their aerial ability. So if they're both starting together in a back 4, then I would expect one of them to drop off in their aerial abilities, and then the other one to be more dominant, which at this point I don't think anyone can say which one is going to be the dominant one. So I'd definitely keep an eye on that with keen interest, as I don't have either of them on roster, but I'm going to be looking for that for sure.
Yeah, definitely. You always tend to get that one dominant centre back, don't you? And I think with your classic Maguire Lindelof pairing sort of thing. One goes forward and hoovers everything up. The other drops and barely gets any points. So we'll see how that balance comes in. I think Ryan Collins will be more dominant apparently, and coming from Burnley, I can see his.
And Drafted Thoughts says Collins will be the dog and Kilman the cat. I think that's very controversial. I am a dog person as well, but we are risking alienating half of our fans. I thought Drafted Thoughts would be more careful in his wording of fantasy analysis here, but maybe he's gone rogue.
There is an interesting article about that actually, which Drafted Thought shared with me, like at the start of the last season, I think. So I can, it's an interesting, it's basically what we were talking about just then, but probably in more detail and actually with some backup. I think it was basically, regarding Varane coming from Real Madrid to United, and a lot of people drafted him really high, and we knew Maguire was still going to be the one that actually got some, be the dominant or the dog one.
The dog.
Be the dog. Do we want to comment on any picks that stand out to you?
I think we can have a look at the comment section a bit. Omar Barajas is asking what are our thoughts on drafting goalkeepers. I think we touched on that with Lloris, and we can see a very substantial goalkeeper run in the 16th round. So drafting someone in round 13, 14, 15, 16 is nothing more than picking them up from free agency.
Agreed.
So you definitely need a goalkeeper to start a game. So if you see one that you like, get him on. Yes, I am wearing a 3 Lions shirt. It is an old one. but yeah, there is one with the collar. I like the ones with the collar.
Cool. And I think we're on to our last pick now as well.
Yeah, Mr. Irrelevant.
Yeah. So Genie without a keeper. So going on some of the comments, then yeah, this is pretty typical of Genie. And yeah, and it looks like he nicked Adam Armstrong off Jacob, so that's clearly, he's clearly going for trade bait there. And there we go, Meslier to finish us off.
Yep. I think we can ask Joe from the background to help us have a look at the teams. Maybe
I think maybe if we go team by team, that might be.
Yeah, because the draft board is unreadable.
Yeah,
I don't want to use the draft board. What do you think that will happen to Ronaldo this season? Yeah, I think we discussed it a bit when talking about DraftLad's team. Personally, I think the only way for Ten Hag to assert his dominance on the squad and build for the future, I think is freezing out Ronaldo altogether. So that's my view. Whether he's allowed to do that is a different question.
Yeah. There was a comment there. Genie has actually taken Mendy. I hadn't spotted that because of this bloody draft board, but yeah. All good. Cheers for that correction. There we go.
Yeah.
Josh is having his draft tonight. Good stuff. Good luck, buddy.
Yeah, good luck. I had the live draft 8 up at a certain point before my internet crashed, but I would definitely recommend using that.
Yeah, for sure. And using my ranks, obviously.
Obvious.
I think Joe's getting the teams up on the board here.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. This is still back from the old view.
Yeah, indeed. So going on draft lads to start with, bit of a Chelsea stack there with Mount and Chilwell, Bilva, Trippier, Gundogan, Ronaldo, Elise. Yeah, I mean, he's got so many picks in that sort of round 4 to round 7 territory, and aside from maybe Gundogan, which I do understand, I quite like all of those. And then going to Bobby, Martial, Alonso, March. I like March as a punt, especially if Cucurella goes. He could be taking that left-back spot. And we saw he obviously did well the season before last. Carlos and Visa to finish. Yeah, I think it's a pretty well-balanced team, to be fair. And what do you reckon, Totti?
Yeah, I think there are like 5 or 6 steady and potentially well-scoring guys there, and I like how DraftLad optimized the back end of the draft for the first few fixtures. So taking that Martial, Ronaldo, handcuff Firmino, I think he will be good at the beginning of the season. Once everyone's up to speed and healthy, I think his starts will drop off. But at the beginning of the season, I expect him to play well and score well. Alonso, again, Solly, March, Carlos, and Wissa, all really good picks for the early fixtures. So someone's been reading the articles in the draft kit.
Yeah. Or writing them himself, anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on to Everson there. I really like those first 2 picks, to be honest. Jesus and Maddison, that's really set him up.
I'd extend it to first 4.
Yep.
Maybe
I like Trossard as well.
6.
Yeah. It's maybe a bit early for him, but I think I took him at the end of the 4th in one league, and I think he could have a really big season. Bamford feels a bit early, but again, the potential is there, and we've seen that. Just whether he can stay fit. Doherty, Target, nice couple of back-to-back defenders there. Bailey, good punt. Christensen, Fofana, Partey, Ziyech. Jimenez late. I think it's gone to pot a little bit towards the end, but again, they're all sort of punty.
I think after Fofana, Partey, Ziyech, Jimenez, Bentancur, and Barkley, they can all be dropped without a second thought. So I like that.
Yeah. We got a question. Digne are reaching 3. I think at the end of 3 he's viable, but I personally wouldn't take him. But it's not too far off.
I think I have him higher than most of us among the Draft Society analysts or experts or whatever we want to call ourselves. But yeah, I think end of round 3, beginning of round 4 should be good value, and he's not going to come back to someone who's picking on the turn at the end of round 3. So if you want him and if you want a premium-ish defender, then he's worth getting.
So Genie's actually the lowest on him with 54, but I'm on 42. So, but the rest of us are in pretty much inside the third round. So sounds about right. Okay, next. I don't know if Joe can scroll us down.
He can.
Hey, there we go. Cheers, buddy. Okay, so Fantrax struck there. Going for Son and then the City mid stack like that. Barnes, loads of upside. Harrison, loads of potential. Really like that. Moving on.
We discussed Podence and Cash and Romero as well. I think up to round 8, where you need to get your picks right. I think this is a great draft from struck from 1 to 8. After that, obviously, again, punts. That United left back tandem is questionable to burn 2 roster spots on. But again, I think United start off with difficult run, but then end up with a very good run after 7 or 8 games. So if you can hold on to these 2 guys or the one that makes his spot his own, then that will be value.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I think Che Adams hasn't been playing in pre-season, so that's maybe a bit of a wasted pick. But yeah, and the rest beyond Lloris after that, again, he's going to be on the waiver wire smashing it. So soon enough.
Exactly.
Yeah, so he's got plenty of guys to just get rid of. That he doesn't have to have any sort of affection for anyway. Then looking at Saka and then Robertson. I really like the Robertson pick, as I probably already mentioned. Jota, he might struggle a bit at the start of the season with Jota there. So what are the other forwards he's got? He's got Vardy, Welbs, Rodrigo. That's it. So
again, the Rodrigo pick is kind of the handcuff for Jota, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
They will probably be available at different times during early in the season. So I think that's fair. Obviously, Rodrigo, even when playing, has a much lower potential than Jota. But I think the safer pick to go with in round 3 was Jota and leaving Vardy for round 4. But those 2 could have been the other way around. I think Diaz is the only one that stands out to me as very early.
Yeah, no, I agree. And handcuffed with Rodri.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sure that draft. I'm sure that drafted thoughts will have a stern word with Az about him not potentially not replicating that last season where he had the statistically best draft.
Yeah, no, indeed. Okay, so moving on to Jacob.
Yeah, and he's just joined the chat after wiping off the sweat from his face after the draft.
Well, he definitely took a long time in a lot of his picks. So
thank you. So thank you. We needed that at the beginning.
Yeah. We definitely did. So what do we think of the draft then? Starting off with Cancelo, JWP, Zaha, Antonio, Callum Wilson, Scamacca. I think those are all, and then even going down to Joe Linton, Armstrong, Justin. I think that's just he didn't go wrong anywhere, did he?
Yeah. I don't see any picks that are too early or anything like that. Obviously, the Stones one and the Kilman one, as we discussed, could be droppable. But again, we say that with every team, have potential, and that in round 11 you shouldn't have any qualms about dropping them.
Yeah, and I quite like the late picks on Fornals and taking Pope there as well.
Pope could be amazing value at 15.
Yeah, especially if Newcastle's defence improves, as we discussed. Okay, moving on to Draftiola now.
3 second rounders.
Wow, yeah, and yeah, now we're seeing it properly. So going with Nunez, Sancho, Mahrez, then Tony, McNeil, Mitrovic, Tarks. I think up to that point, we're talking about very good value, very solid. I think maybe Sancho's a little bit early, and Mahrez I might not have gone for myself, but it's
Sancho could have been there at 3-6, where he picked
or
Tony,
2-11 probably, at least.
2-11 pretty sure, but 3-6 as well maybe. But then again, why risk it when you want Sancho? Get Sancho. So Ben Rama, as you said, probably droppable and too high for Alvarez, I think.
I think that's maybe he's thinking of sort of handcuffing, because I think Alvarez come on for Mahrez, or did he come on for?
He came on for Mahrez,
and obviously he did well and scored. So potentially. We got a question there. Too early for Mwepu. I mean, probably if you're doing your home league draft, probably no one's going to even think about him. So definitely that.
Yeah, definitely. I can see him going undrafted.
Yeah, I think you talking him up has moved him well up the draft boards in the community. So I just overall, pretty solid draft from Draftiola there. I like got the Collins pick in there. Not sure Dan Burn is probably taken over by Botman, considering they're both left-sided centre backs, but we'll see on that one. And then Willock, an early, a sort of a short-term pick for the start of the season.
Yeah.
Okay, Flay,
the champion. Trading up to get Haaland. I think that trade up to get Haaland and get the front line of Haaland, Diaz. When I start reading this draft board or this team, I see Haaland, Diaz. This is going to be a hell of a team, and then he's picking in the 5th round next.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
and reach for Zinchenko a bit and Bruno. Actually, Bruno G has been going earlier, but still, I don't like him this year.
Yeah.
I know what you mean. It starts to disappear. I don't really like any of the picks after Perisic, to be honest.
I think
Castagna maybe.
Once he made the decision to trade up and give up a lot of picks to get Haaland, then I think he should have made, and I think I'm sure he did, because he's a very talented and experienced draft manager, made the conscious decision that at least in the first few weeks, this is going to be a very streamer heavy team to manage. If he's done that, and if he has consciously made that decision, then I'm okay with this, because he has a pretty solid construction at the top with Guimaraes and Koulibaly maybe, but I can see like 4 people from this draft being on this team come game week 3.
Yeah, there's completely agree. We'll see. It's like you said, and I think from what I recall as well, he's got 0 fab left. So
it's going to be an uphill battle.
Yeah. Sorry, Mark. Check what we're saying. Check the description list for a list of the managers. Okay. So have a Buendia now. Going for Salah, second pick. Odegaard, Neto, Watkins, McGinn. I really like that those first 5 picks there. Very solid.
The fact that he could get Odegaard in round 3 is good. I think I've seen him go at the back end of round 2. Obviously, second pick in round 3, virtually on the turn. But yeah. I think that's a good.
I think if you look at the draft board and what was actually left, I mean, there's only really like Grealish or Tony or Chile maybe that you might have picked before him. I'm not as high as Odegaard on others, but yeah, you see, probably is about good value around there. But yeah, the rest of the picks, I think I Nori a bit early, but again, he could be a decent pick. Dallo, KDH, Nico Williams, McAllister. Don't mind it up to there. After that, it's just throwing darts, really, isn't it? But even darts that just have no potential.
Exactly, like these darts are not hitting the draft board or the dart board. They are going like on hitting the shoulder of the other guy who's taking the darts out of the dart board next to you. With Neves and Hickey, I think those are very wayward, but easily droppable.
Yeah, I think his whole bench will be dropped within, we'll probably by the time Game Week 1 starts anyway. So cool. But yeah, overall solid team in terms of the picks at the start. So.
I haven't seen any of the teams that actually had picks in the first few rounds who really didn't pick well. I think up to now, most of the teams were solid for the first 1 to 4 rounds.
Yeah, and I think if you can get that, the first 1 to maybe up to 5, 6, 7, 8 picks right, then it doesn't really matter what you do after that.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's really what will take you on in the season. So yeah, into Goalaticos. So has obviously traded out his first pick, but going Kulusevski and Bowen. I like that. Coutinho, maybe a little bit early in the third, but it's okay. Martinelli, again, maybe a little bit early. Lingard. I think up to there we're seeing, I'm not necessarily sold on Lingard, but I think, he'll play every game, Talisman, etc. So I think those are all solid picks. Now we're getting riskier with Johnson and Cucurella and Adama. Cresswell, not too... People aren't high on Cresswell, so I think you could have waited, to be honest. But I don't think he'll probably represent value there. He'll be a top 100 player. So as long as he can stay fit. The rest, Ings, Punty, Rice, okay. Again, as I said before, good value there, and just a few more decent punts. I know Robinson obviously scored well in the the previous season Fulham had in the Prem, so he could be a decent shout there. And but yeah, overall, it's sort of it's a strange draft to look at, but actually, I think there's enough value in there that is like solid.
I think he'll struggle to set starting 11 in a few weeks. That forward line needs work, and unless Coutinho or Martinelli really hit the ground running, I don't necessarily see a midfielder, a top end midfielder who can be involved in a trade to help that forward line. So I think at this point it's Coutinho, Martinelli, and Lingard who need to perform well above where they were taken in the draft for them to help the manager trade in potentially underperforming top 3 round forwards because
the forwards are light.
Yeah, Brendan Johnson as the only definite starting forward is very light, and I don't expect Brandon Johnson to be a worthwhile player to have, especially having a look at the fixture difficulty tracker for forwards, which I think it's not very bad for Forest, but nothing to write home about.
Yeah, but yeah, like you say, I think in summary, that's just it's a he's not setting himself up well for the very start of the season, which you could be playing catch up by that point, sort of thing.
Yeah, I can see this team like losing the first 4 and then struggling to find the springboard in his own team to trade his way out of trouble. So if I was gonna suggest a tactic, is just to go hard for incoming top end ish talent, especially if forwards are coming in for fab, because that's gonna be your springboard to be able to trade your way out of potential trouble. Then again, if Traore becomes a starter, then we are talking about one of the best teams or one of the best drafts there is. So there's upside.
Yeah, cool. So I think moving on to Fadalda's Jingle Bellamy team. So he got promoted last season from Div 2, and he's going with a risky strategy of the full Liverpool backline stack. And I mean, Ericsson as well. He could be great value there, but a bit of risk attached in terms of what his role at United will be. I like Thiago, but again, he could be injured anytime soon. Richarlison as well. I mean, will he see much playtime this side of the World Cup? Who knows? Unlikely. But yeah, and then after Alisson, we start to get into some funny picks.
We talked about Harry Wilson.
Yeah.
We talked about the Konate handcuff. I think these two teams will have their work cut out. Then again, I think Fundalda will be able to trade his way out of trouble. Looking at the early fixtures for Liverpool, but he needs to be quick and effective with his trading out of Liverpool defenders. First 6 are Fulham, Palace, United, Bournemouth, Newcastle, Everton.
Yeah.
I think at the end of that, you can probably sell Van Dijk as a legit second rounder, which I think he should not have been. Maybe that's too harsh, but then you can go for maybe an underperforming midfielder from the second round or forwards.
No, exactly. I think any form of stack, especially defensive one, is high risk, high reward sort of thing, and I just think it's a little bit light in the rest of the team to back that up. But yeah, anyway, should we move on to the next one? Okay, finally at Genie. What do we think? So obviously those first 4 picks on, obviously look great.
I think it's similar to what we said about Flay's draft. It's a bit better because he has 3 first rounders, but again, after Kane, Fernandes, Sterling, Eze, after that,
throwing darts, isn't it?
Yeah, it's throwing darts, and darts that I think are not hitting the target. Like there will be obviously certain parts of the season where they are valuable, but I don't think he'll be able to hold them until then. So, and I think, we have different valuations. Obviously, you can see that on our consensus ranks with Genie, but I think he's reached on Bruno and Sterling as well. So even from the 3 first rounders, I I would have expected more value, more upside to come out from the first three first rounders.
Yeah, knowing Genie, I think he would have taken Madison actually, but I think the all the rumors about the transfer has spooked him a little bit. But yeah, I think again, this maybe suits Genie's style of management, to be honest, because he's just literally gonna palm off like half his squad pretty soon and just try and keep picking up guys off the waivers and try and trade out anyone who has little or no value for something. So yeah, it's of type anyway. So moving on to is this the last one here? Tal Ben Sports Agency. Those
rolls of the tongue, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. KDB first. I mean, I can't complain with that. That's the most upside that we've got there. ASM is solid at the end of round 2. I think that's more like his value because I have been seeing him go a lot earlier than that. James and Havertz, now you're getting into sort of slightly riskier picks, but if it works with James, that's really good value there. But we all know your qualms about that. Rashford and Tielemans obviously reach a little bit for DCL considering the injury, but yeah, Gray, Smith. So I think once we get up to about Tielemans, I'm perfectly happy with all those picks. They're especially the first couple. After that, it starts to get a bit sort of more risky and punty, and I mean the last 5-6 rounds, I don't think any of them are. Maybe Saliba will play at the start of the season, but I don't think any of them are even going to play. So. I think
Saliba kind of is a handcuff for Tomiyasu. As long as Tomiyasu is out, Ben White is playing right back, and then Saliba is involved in the centre back. But other than that, I agree. Vieira, he is an Arsenal fan, so he might know something more than we do. But Vieira, Jed Spence, Conor Gallagher, and to some extent Smith Rowe is going to be droppable soon. That Gray pick with DCL injury is looking likely to be good value, but at the point when McNeil signed and DCL we didn't know was injured, Gray was falling hard in valuation.
So actually Gray could be decent value for those 6 weeks while Calvert-Lewin is out. So again, a bit of a handcuff sort of thing. So I think generally he might struggle to put out a team a little bit in the first couple of weeks, but yeah, we'll see. But I think overall there's enough upside, especially at the top of the draft, for it to be good. Okay, so that's us done.
It is. Joe, will you come back to say goodbye to the good people?
Absolutely. I'm back. You guys killed it. That was incredible. Nice job.
Yeah. I'll have to go to my parents' place to find my my Ian Stonebridge Plymouth Argyle shirt for the next live stream.
Yeah, I'm going to be running out of Liverpool jerseys here soon, but I had to rep this one just for old time's sake.
I feel a bit left out that I wasn't actually wearing my top. You guys could have worn me, couldn't you?
Yeah, sorry. We coordinated so many things we couldn't quite get to the outfit. Next time.
It's good fun.
Great job, guys. Yeah, amazing. Community, as always, we love you. We had at some points almost 40 people, which is pretty amazing for basically our first live stream, aside from the test one we ran the other day, Toddy. Incredible. Just the amount of support and love the community shows us. We love you back. You guys are amazing. So we'll go ahead and close her down for this one. Any final thoughts, guys?
Looking forward to watching games now.
Yeah.
We've been talking so much about potentials and values and players that it's finally going to be so good to just sit down and watch some games.
Yeah.
All
right.
100%.
Head over to thedraftsociety.com and get yourself prepared for game week 1. Hit us up with DMs if you have any questions. Start a conversation on Twitter. We'll retweet you. Let's get some thoughts on the things that you are worried about or your conundrums that you're having for your lineup. Cheers, community. Good luck. We'll talk to everyone soon.